This is Channel 253. Beep, boop, boop, boop.
On this episode of the Grit and Grain Podcast.
How do we get the youth to embrace what we share in beer? Because beer to me is memories and people and places and foods and things like that. And
the big
just
question, man.
wonderful people that I've been interacted with because of beer. So.
I think the answer is pretend we don't like it. Straight up, pretty sure that'll work. Like.
Welcome to the Grit and Grain Podcast, where we explore and celebrate the craft beer industry, community, and history in Tacoma, Washington, and surrounding Pacific Northwest areas. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grit and Grain Podcast. Coming to you guys from the historic Parkway Tavern in Tacoma, Washington. Didn't even need a warm-up. Jeez, Ron.
Way away.
He threw everybody off. Thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out. As always, if you're free on a Wednesday afternoon, roll through and hang out, have a beer for our recording sessions. They're a lot of fun, and the room usually does fill up, but come and hang out and have a good time and be a laugh track for all of our hilarious jokes. My name is Matt McLaren. I'm here, as always, with Ron Swarner.
Hello.
How's it going, Ron?
It's going great.
Is your mic close enough?
Yes, now it is.
Okay, good. And then Sean Jackson is back this week.
Yeah. Thank God.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, that was glad to be gone. Had Little League. We had the championship game of the losers bracket yesterday.
How'd it go?
We lost.
Okay.
There are still trophies though, so
Hey, perfect.
for 6th place out of 8 teams.
Where's the banquet at?
The old spaghetti factory.
Steve's gay 90s.
But yeah, no, it's great to be back.
Good to
Feeling
see you, buddy.
fucking super bitchin' and ready. Like
Yeah.
all things are pointing as they should be.
Towards our guest.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of that, all day, Ken. Our guest today is somebody who has been around for a while. He's something of a Tacoma celebrity and has done quite a bit for not only me, but a lot of other young dudes in this industry. Yeah, I'll get it out of the way. Don't worry. I got more for you. But yeah, Sean, who are we talking to today, man?
The one and only Ken Wetzler, a man of tremendous knowledge on, I would say at this point, all spirits.
I would
all
not
things
disagree.
spirits.
Everything alcohol.
Everything alcohol.
Things that grow from the earth and
Well, I do that also.
yeah.
Yes. So
And just life
ducks.
in general.
fermentation. Yes, we're astute on a few of these things. Yes.
Uh-huh.
What are you drinking there, man?
Three-way. Oh, sorry.
Yep, no, you're right.
Three-way?
Ding,
Yes.
ding, ding.
Yeah, three-way week. It's been a good week. It's very good this year.
So you beer nerd guy. I was reading something. Did Sierra Nevada just do something with Bailbreaker?
Good.
The next friends.
The only dude not on a mic.
Sorry. Sorry, I was excited about that. It's just like, that is awesome. Sierra Nevada happens to be one of my favorite all-time breweries, period. So it's just when I saw something local, especially with the boys at Bailbreaker who do a fantastic job, I'm super stoked to see them when that Friends comes out.
Yeah,
So
me too.
awesome.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Breaking-ish news. This is great. Fuck.
Did I throw everything in?
Yeah.
No,
that's good. Okay.
You
you're
threw
good.
the right things in the right places.
Yes.
And it stuck. It's great.
Sean, what am I drinking?
The Stoop Seattle Beer Week Pale.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Is that what you have?
No, I got the Chuckanut Kolsch and some three-way and some Boneyard barley wine.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you have,
Welcome
Ron?
back, me.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
I also have the three-way, but I have the Cascade Petite Cranberry also.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see what Sean had in front of him if they took second place. You're drinking a Cascade, Ron?
Yeah, I am. It's delish. The cranberry.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't had a Cascade in a while. They don't make enough Tums for that. Though I do love Cascade. I'm just pretty sure it's destroyed my gut biome over the years.
Hi, Kent.
Ron, how are you, sir?
I'm really great. But before we discuss your incredible palate, your incredible sales expertise,
Yes.
Holy shit.
your love for fishing, you do love
Yes.
fishing,
Yeah.
your epic bottle shares at the shanty,
Oh, there were a few of those.
and your wedding video that online with a giant yellow rubber ducky floating on a lake.
That is very true.
I thought we would discuss the vacation you took away from Drake's when you were bartending, and you went to the Oregon coast surfing. Where did the great white shark bite you?
Well, since you brought it up, who fed you a bunch of bullshit information?
Dude, I got
But
so
is
much.
it bullshit though?
So, way back in the day, and this was before my Drake days, this was just after high school, we were surfing in Crescent Moon Bay, Oregon, and I happened to get bit by a shark. There you go.
That's it.
You make it sound so
I
casual.
can make it say, everyone has a shark bite. I just happen to have one on my phone.
No, they very don't.
Yeah.
No.
So it's one of those things. I've got a shark bite. I've got dog bites. I've got my body's been a bit abused. If you all know me, actually, you have seen me replace a couple of hips in the last 5 years, and then most of an ankle. And so, in my youth, I was busy. That's a nice.
Yeah.
Is that a nice way of saying it? I was busy doing interesting things in my mind, and sometimes I broke things, and well, not really broke bones until turned 50, and then everything starts freaking falling apart. So there you go. Strap, put on new hips, new ankle, and boom, I'm up and right. Look at me. Not quite running yet, but we're getting there.
I've had 6 hips replaced. I was busy in my youth. Like, come on, Ken.
Over 50, things change a little bit, but not all that much.
Where'd you grow up at?
My informative years were in the Spokane area. I graduated from Riverside High School, northeast of Spokane. Moved over here in 1987 after graduating. Found saltwater fish were way bigger than the freshwater fish in eastern Washington, and I never moved back. So it was one of those things. It was there is something about a moderate climate. Don't get me wrong. And I still have property, and I still hunt in the Spokane area for turkeys and deer and things like that. But this is home, and I love this moderate climate. And I just happened to end up in Tacoma, where I have family. I'm one of 6 kids originally. My dad had 4 more, but 5 of the 6 kids all live in the greater Tacoma area. My mother is still alive, and she's kicking, watching grandbabies. And so Tacoma is home, and I have truly been here, since 1987. So maybe a bit of a transplant, but all my informative bar drinking years were here. So
That makes you family, Ken.
it kind of makes me local-ish, yes.
Was that the year you started at Sea Galley?
I started at Sea Galley in 1989, right after I turned 21. So literally 6 months after I turned 21, I had an opportunity to take a bartending gig at Sea Galley on 27th Street, which in the late 80s, early 90s was just a kick-ass place to work. Always busy. Had a lot of fun, had a great crew, still keep in touch with most of the staff that is around still today on a regular basis. Roger Pettis and Jorge Hernandez were kind of 3 amigos that ran through that place for quite some time. And I run into Debbie every now and then. I can't remember her last name. She got remarried and don't know what it is now. But I see them and her daughter periodically, so it's a small town thing, especially when you're in the restaurant industry. You get to know a lot of people.
There was a stretch of time where you actually on Monday Night Footballs at the Sea Galley because I was there.
Were you
would
kicking field goals?
Yeah, kicking field goals.
That was me.
So much
It was
fun.
entertaining.
It was very entertaining.
Oh, no, really. Nerf football. We
Yeah.
kick it. I put a drop down net around the bar. We had a second story when I had a buddy that was a fisherman, got the drop down net, literally rigged the whole thing up so I could pull it up from behind the bar and drop it back down. And we were kicking Nerf footballs in the bar at halftime.
You were doing that,
it was
Ron?
a hoot.
I was there.
How many hips have
How
you
much
had replaced?
breakage?
None. Honestly, not. We never broke a window. We might have spilt we had those stupid Mondo beers at that time that were the cool kid things. Those were terrible on tables anyway, so we might have broke one or two of those, but really nothing broke.
You were doing it wrong then.
Well, we made good efforts.
Sounds boring.
Was it Drake right after that?
No, I actually spent a little bit more time in that building with John Vukas when he rolled it into the 28th Street Bar and Grill that turned into Johnny's or whatever else was in there. But not my kind of nightclub. And when I say that, it's just the crowd was very rough at the time. And it wasn't for me. So I bowed out after my first commercial fishing season up in Bristol Bay and looked for greener pastures, which ended up with me at Drake's to start a long stint of wonderful memories, kind of. And it's what well, you got to remember when you're talking about a Tacoma nightclub in the mid-'90s, rolling through the 2000s. There were some new drugs on the street. Just going to throw it out there. Cocaine was available. Just marijuana was available. But the Summer of Love started happening, and I've had all these kids coming up and ordering orange juice and not cocktails. It was, touchy-feely. It's like just spraying with water. Made them twitch a lot. It's just like, and you spend your hard-earned money on this. It's like, okay, you're on ecstasy. Great. Yay.
Wasn't DJ Kamal there?
Kimmel.
Yeah.
Oh, Kimmel was a great dude.
He was a
Love
great
that guy. The only time we actually touched her on birthdays, it's one of those Facebook things. So Kimmel's doing fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him for a long time.
Still doing amazingly well. Good character.
That place was a freaking powerhouse for a
That
long
place
time.
was. Now you have to remember, all you kids that weren't around in the bar scene in the 90s, there wasn't a whole lot to do in Tacoma. And when I say
That's why
Tacoma,
drugs.
Tacoma was very spread out also, because Lakewood had Lakewood Bar and Grill, and you had some stuff up in Lakewood that was popping.
Leslie's.
Yes, and Leslie's too.
Yeah.
6th Avenue had a few bars on it that were doing things. The Swiss had just started coming on board. Honestly, that was in the early 90s also. So they weren't actually as spread out to the whole building yet for a lot of that time. They were just the front main entrance. But there was the downtown corridor where, what do you got down there? You've got Odd Otter. You've got, McConey is still down there.
Yeah.
There was literally at 4 o'clock on a Friday night, there was nothing in the downtown corridor. And when I say nothing, it literally, the lights went up or they went off and everybody scooted. So literally gave me unlimited parking in the downtown corridor. It wasn't pay to park at that time.
Was Roof and Deuce there?
Roof and Deuce was there when I started, literally right when I started.
Yeah.
And so we had kind of a little thing with them for a minute, and things all changed. There used to be a hotel restaurant or hotel bar across the street. When I started at Drake's, it was a beer bar, beer and pizza. So they had a dozen taps. It was one of those things where coming from a corporate background with Sea Galley, it's just like, dude, we were missing a ton of easy money. And so we got there, went to an A license, got the alcohol, got the food service set up, got everything squared away, and then we went from being kind of a cool kid beer bar to fucking off the hook nightclub for the next 10 years.
Yep.
And when I say that, it went 8 years anyway. It went crazy. We made enough money to buy the building. We made enough money to expand from 1 floor to 3 floors. When we bought the building, we took over. There was actually the 733 Club, which was a gay club, up on our middle floor, and they had the upper half. Well, when we took the building over, we took over the whole building. So they moved and did some other things, and so we built a big stage up on the 4th floor, which was just a big open room. So
for live bands.
So we'd throw Cry up there. So literally, Bob Hill and I would get. We're not going to say bickering over it, but so big nights there would be a bartering system for who got things like Cry and those for the shows, because I could pack a house like they could, and I had more square footage. So literally, and the 2nd floor. So there's actually a mezzanine. So when you walked in, dance floor was on the other side of a wall. First bar where you'd find me all the time. We had a mezzanine with a 3rd bar on the 1st floor. upstairs, it had a beautiful long bar, which we usually used as a chill out area, threw some couches and things in there. And then upstairs, we played live music. And we ran that format, till I left in mid-2003. So literally on a weekend, we had run anywhere from 12 to 1,500 people a night through the doors. Jesus. And it was... had 22 security guys on staff. I had 9 bartenders, 7 cocktailers. Went to 5 bussers. It was literally 40 people that literally did a part-time job. They worked from 9 to close 3 days a week, and were able to do okay.
And Cry a cover band.
Cry, very much.
They
cover.
would pre-funk at El Gacho. That's how well they did.
They did fine. I paid those guys a lot of money. That seems right.
Yeah.
Seems right.
Yeah.
Well, so there you go.
Yeah, that was a
crazy times.
big part of Tacoma history that we haven't touched on yet.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
Drake's never came up.
A shitload of people in this town that have a Drake story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was.
That's an easy thing to do, or have one that you don't remember.
Hey, that's true too. Yeah.
Right.
And it was a big, a lot of us other folks working in other places too. I mean, that was a big spot for getting off work and
bouncing down. And
bouncing down. And
we did kick everybody out at 2 because that's what the Liquor Control Board said we did. But we would not push that limit. We would get it to that limit. So that being said, I had some big ugly guys that would say, take your beer from you, and then they would. So they just herd everybody out. Herd them in, herd them back out. It's cockroaches with light
22 security guys.
Yeah. Well, we'd start up on the top because live music crashed early, so you knock that off by 120, 122, and then we'd just literally flow people downhill. By the time the herd got to the front of the bar, it was someplace about 10 till, and they'd just keep shuffling out.
Kent runs a tight ship.
yeah,
You
Even
have
with all
to.
the drugs.
and runs a tight
drugs are
everything.
The world's changed a lot since then. So,
So when did you make the jump to Columbia?
oh no, I didn't make the jump to Columbia. So I got home. Well, I was commercial fishing, so I left in June. Got back probably the end of July in 2003. My owner boss at the time decided while I took my 3-week sabbatical up there fishing that he was going to not have me as a general manager anymore, but he wanted to keep me as a bartender. And I'm like, well, I don't have fucking time for that. So I packed up literally all my shit and I walked out. So at that time, what was I doing? I had signed up for an EMT class already because I wasn't in school. I'd already got my bachelor's degree done a few years earlier. And I'm just like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to go be an EMT, figure out the firefighting thing, and I'll work my way up that way. So literally a week before, I literally finished the course and did the hospital. The only thing I didn't do for my EMT was the hospital stint. Pete Gisty, if you've been around here, you know Pete. He gave me a call. He had been a salesman to me. So back to the Drake thing just a little bit. Just so you know, Barry Watson was at Columbia and sold to me. So that who else is in that? You're a fantastic young man that runs Deschutes, Norm, also a salesman to me. I can remember having him up on a ladder actually selling me in a keg of Deschutes. It's like, dude, do you have a neon? He's like, yeah. Had him climb up, put it in the window. So I have a lot of those stories from Drake's days. But then, anyway, so the EMT thing got kind of set back because there was this awesome opportunity to work for Alaska Distributing, it's kind of funny how the world turns if you look at what catalogs and who was selling what in 2003. Columbia right now is getting very close to what that book looked like that we had at ADCO. We just had a way better wine portfolio. Not liquor at the time because that was all still state run. But at that time, we were just a juggernaut with beer, and we had a killer wine portfolio. So hence, I've sold wine for a long time. Everyone's like, dude, you sell wine. It's like, dude, I've been drinking wine since I turned 21. The answer is yes. I can do this too. So
It's because you're the beer guy to all of us.
and that's fine. It's still on my Instagram or something, Kent Beer Guy. Yeah. Haven't changed it, not going to. It's funny how the world comes in waves and we come full circle on things. So
Here in just because my whole time knowing you, you've been the beer guy in my head. And when I heard that you were selling wine, it was like hearing that you shaved your goatee. Like that's how different it felt to me.
Oh,
I don't know if I can
heaven's
see it the same
sakes.
way.
That's something. I don't even know what to say about that. It's like,
But it's okay.
the
so happy for you.
tiger still has stripes. I still wear shorts. I haven't shaved my goatee because I hate shaving my upper lip. Not going to happen ever. So there you go. That's why Ken always wears a goatee. I don't have a cleft chin or something fun to cover up. It's just I really hate shaving my mustache. It just sucks. So there you go. There's
But you can't have just a mustache.
no. I look very fun. Yeah, creepy with the mustache. Not a good look for me. We're gonna keep the goatee. It stays. It's bad. It is not pretty. Not pretty at all.
Like sitting here like,
Yeah, not good. It's not good. We'll just leave it at that. So where were we on
mug
your
that pretty
questions?
needs a frame
Yeah.
anyway.
When did you make the jump to Columbia?
Columbia, actually, ADCO sold out in 2007.
Yep.
And there was kind of, a diversion of all the brands. And some of the brands that I truly loved were going to Columbia. Sierra Nevada happened to be one of them. Lagunitas was another. And so, not saying that I chased the brands. I went with, it's way easier to sell something that you're passionate about and you love
Fucking word.
than trying to make up bullshit about something that's just haphazardly decent. So, with that, I chased the brands, and they gave me a job, and pretty much basically the same route down here in Tacoma as I had beforehand, and so that's when I made the jump there. So,
Okay.
and then it morphed.
Then things got different.
Yeah, things got really different.
Yep.
Do we want to continue down this work path thing?
Yeah, let's talk about Marine View.
Yeah. Oh, well, so great. Marine View is fantastic. I miss that place. Literally.
You skipped all the juicy stuff from
Well, I
Columbia.
did.
That's fine.
Columbia was
Ron
one of those.
doesn't know.
So real quickly,
Yeah.
30 seconds. I know that this is. I can bullshit for hours about this.
So
However,
did we.
With that, Columbia, when they first started, I think they actually had a really good game plan. They hired a bunch of good people. We had a solid team. We had solid teams, honestly, and we were doing some great things. Somewhere in that whole evolution, there became a bunch of nepotism in the business that isn't something that I could follow. So there was an opportunity came up with Marine View Beverage and the GAB that they were looking for someone to manage some brands. And so I laughed. I high-fived. I went and turned my badge in. Actually, I went to the VP at the time, and I told him, it's just like, hey, this is my last day. He's like, well, what are you going to do? You going fishing? It's like, no, I'm going to go work for Marine View Beverage. He's like, well, you can't do that. It's like, no. Hey,
Says who?
sorry, I am leaving. So with that, he's like, you're no shit. So he actually took my badge, and I do believe it was still on his wall in Columbia when he retired. So needless to say, that happened. And so I had this wonderful opportunity with but getting back to kind of basics. I've lived in Tacoma that entire time. I spent 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Hey, Russ. Actually up doing a route in the east side of Seattle. Did a couple of different things, was their beer specialist, etc. Hence is where I kind of got into presentations, and we're actually talking about Cicerone, trying to do these things. But that really hadn't come up to fruition at that time. So there were a lot of things for me to leave Columbia, honestly. So moved back home. So where I was literally had a company van that I literally filled up twice a week, 60 gallons of gas for my route a week on their dime. But it's just like, I left literally sole on 405. So with that, I was very happy to move home. And geez, one thing led to another, which we acquired a bunch of kick-ass brands. And as we were building, I got the opportunity to build out some fantastic kind of a beer specialist team. And in that time, I also got to do all the training for all 3 warehouses for Cicerone, which is pretty much where you kind of came in, where I was literally, giving beer away once a week someplace because it's like I had a shit ton of it. And I love talking to people about beer and kind of, preaching the gospel when you get right down to it. And the more people we could get involved in this cool kid craft thing, the better off everyone's going to be. So we're going to circle back to when I met you, right?
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll
Right now.
have to.
Let's
do it.
Right now?
Yeah.
Right
No
now.
shit. Okay.
Right now.
Sean Jackson, what was your first memory of me?
I actually have a funny one for this when you're done.
Purchasing in barley wines at the Rock Days.
Yes, sir.
And actually holding barley wines for an amount of time before I put them on tap, and having someone like-minded as far as the understanding of the barley wines and when they should be
Released to the public,
released
not
to
maybe
the
not
public.
to the yes.
And doing it at the Rock, a place where there is a little kind of I don't know, it's basement type attic in the back corner of it, and all dusty and kind of unfinished, and we tucked things up there, Leviathan-y things,
Oh
and
my goodness.
mirror type things, and we'd sit on 'em for a couple years and then tap them at freaking the Rock Pasta at that
Rock
point.
pasta. So literally, my recollection of this was think I'd just taken over. You were actually buying, and I walked in, and I can't remember if it was a Bigfoot or what you had on tap. Maybe it was a Leviathan. I'm like, the fuck did you get that? And he kind of looked at me. And he's just like, come here, I gotta show you something. So he shows me a stash, and I'm like, okay. You and I are going to be buddies, because it's just like, look, in the world of things, it is very special when you actually have the time and you have an owner and a buyer that's patient enough to be able to do these things and put things away, understanding that it might not turn out great, but then again, it might. And you're going to sell it anyway. So you would have sold it anyway. But those were just, so that became kind of like-minded, which is kind of funny.
Or owners that don't know that you're doing it.
Well, that's true too.
That's even better.
So going down that kind of lane, I found some shelf turds in my office. Yes, I did throw in the fridge this morning.
Good night.
And that is an 08 Sheffley right there, by the way. So that is older than you, isn't it? Close.
That is.
So I've got these chilled down since we do have a passion for barley wines and aged things. These could honestly be shelf turds, or they could be delicious. That's a beautiful thing about holding on to things. Well, probably longer than you should. However, it's like the Lagunitas. That's not a product that actually came up here. I actually was on a junket at Columbia, and Mitch Klein was our area manager. And I'm looking at the back of the brewery there. We're actually upstairs and overlooking in their little hideaway thing. And I'm like, what is this? He's like, well, that's barley wine. I was like, what is this? He's like, dude, we have barley wine. It's like, dude, when do I get my barley wine? Yeah. Where's my allocation? When can I do this? And he's like, oh, you're not kidding. And so by the time I left there, I had talked the owner into letting me mule a case back that was 80, or what was it? Probably 08, 09, and 010. So 4 bottles of each. So, and yes, I packed that back on an airplane and paid dearly for it, but it was pre-exploding airplane, so I could actually mule beer back on the airplane as a carry-on. So these are to be opened and sampled. So just so you know.
Okay.
So you figure that out. So I just brought.
I know how to open things.
We're gonna
fucking yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break, but we'll open those on the break. But speaking of allocations, do you want to hear about the first time I met Kent?
Yes.
So I was still buying at Bevmo, and Kent had been in the building before, but him and I had never actually interacted until I was buying beer. I was receiving and buying beer, kind of splitting time. And when Kent and I first met in person, it was because I had fleeced 2 kegs of Abyss out of Marine View's book like a piece of shit, and was filling growlers of them for $30.
Yeah.
And Kent came one time and he was like, I need one of those back. And he was
Just
like,
so
I'm
you
taking
know.
it with me today. And I fucking fought you for 10 minutes about it.
You're not going to win this argument. It's like, I'm going to give you a credit. Thank you for, and yes, I'll be back with a growler to fill it up, but I've got X amount of these, and yes, I had long conversations with literally everybody at Marine View Beverage that If they're not on the fucking list, they don't get the fucking beer. It's a pretty simple concept.
Yep.
Yes.
Mitch didn't give a fuck about that. He sent me
Yeah.
so much.
Highway robbery. At
And now that I know all the people
that
that were not getting those beers because I
Yeah.
was doing that, I feel like
No, you
less.
don't.
No,
No, you
I
don't.
don't. I don't.
No,
Not
you're-
even a little bit.
So with
Sorry,
the,
Sean.
the idea of
Well, like I
poaching
didn't get
beer
a
is
miss
great.
because
I know.
Sean got
I think
his
you
share.
overthink your impact there, buddy.
No, it was a fun fantasy for a second.
You're right. I should have let it ride.
Can you guys tell like
vibes.
Kent makes fun of me for being young? We're gonna take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Hello. This is Eric Hanberg of Channel 253 here with sound producer Doug.
Hi.
Hi, we are here to tell you about membership to Channel 253, and we're talking really fast because we know you want to get back to the podcast.
That's exactly right. You get to be on the members Slack channel, which is really banging, and you get to listen to the members-only podcast Off the Record, hosted by me.
That's right. It's just $4 a month or $40 a year. Channel253.com/membership. Thank you for listening. I hope you'll consider joining. Please check it out.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, no problem. I was here to fill in.
I know. I was trying to say bye to Nick.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Puff, puff, give. Oh boy.
Kent gives a
Sean, what are
Kent's
we
around, and
drinking?
you guys are just like, oh, now it's 3 against one.
Well, Matt, we are drinking. Kent brought us
Shelf turds.
a true treasure, Bridgeport Old Knucklehead, which is a barley wine that has been elusive to me, because they're fucking closed, but it didn't come up here for a long time prior to its closing, and I think about it and dream about it and touch myself in places, and here it is in front of me, glass.
Just wait till you put a nose on that. Seriously.
Okay.
Just
Seriously. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Life is good. Tell you what. Thank you,
Wow.
Kent.
You are welcome, sir.
It's like a trip down memory lane from my childhood of barley wine.
Mom used to put it on my teeth when I was fussy.
Yeah. Mom used to put it in her coffee to deal with me.
Also when you were fussy.
Oh, that's why I don't believe in karma, man. Like, my kids are way too good. That shit's not real. It isn't. Cheers to that.
That's why the universe keeps trying to find ways to give you head injuries.
Oh, God.
Holy shit, that's so good.
I was trying to think of when I met Kent. Probably maybe the day that Marine View built our coolers. Was that it?
I would say we were
Officially.
officially yes, because
Pete
Dougie
and
was
Jeff.
down there,
And you and
Yep.
Eric and Nick.
and Doug was doing the install.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doug
All the
was-
cool people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great team.
know.
Yeah,
Crazy
it was-
great team.
When I saw that picture, I felt really
Doug
left out.
Redcoat,
yeah. Best
the draft wizard of all time.
Oh,
guys.
Doug?
At least
yeah.
west
Yeah.
of the Mississippi.
Well, he put
Yeah,
he put the faucets on a log.
yeah.
Pete, so
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
It's not a,
Truly
Yeah.
impressive character. I love that guy. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
I miss
Yeah.
Doug.
Yes. So that would be where.
I think so.
I think
Besides, you picking up my way left football.
Well,
kick.
which if it got caught in the net, I had a way to shake that out too. I had to it would do that periodically. But
We should
it's
bring
funny
this
you
back
can
for
remember.
Tacoma Beer Week.
Actually, we did. We actually kicked it off a plastic cup on the floor too. I'd cut the end off the cup. That was our tee. It was awesome. It was fun.
oh, yeah.
It was interactive football stuff. So it just
Yeah.
and it was amazing how many people would come to Sea Galley to watch football instead of a lot of the
Yeah.
other sports bars that were available to them. So, granted, our food was way better also. So
Good times. for
great
sure.
times. This 2013 Old Knucklehead is drinking fantastic.
Yep.
Wait,
It really is.
Is it 13 or is it just batch 13?
No, batch 13 in 2013.
You question the Wex?
No, I'm not. So read the bottle, you animal.
Old knucklehead used to, when somebody did something stupid, they'd make the knucklehead labels. So this was actually the first one that came out without actually having a knucklehead on it.
Oh, which one was yours, Sean?
Yeah. It's kind of a stick figure. It's just
That's my
on
only
myself.
shot.
Yeah.
I'll do better.
Okay, good. Boy, howdy, thank you.
Well, you are
And
so
we have
welcome.
some other wonderful barley wines to
Sample
consume.
along while we're talking about stuff.
Kent, question. I'm always curious. Beers of origin for the passion of the craft. I mean,
I have been blessed in my life to be able to travel. And when I say that, most of them were on my dime, some of them on a company's dime. I've been probably the most fun adventure, relatively speaking, is I flew over with a brother. I was working at Drake's at the time. Had a few extra bucks in my pocket that I could spend. Brother just graduated from college, had his first job. Had a sister that was getting pinned from lieutenant to captain. And so I'm like, dude, let's jump on an airplane. Let's go to Frankfurt. Let's pin Bridget. And so I call the sergeant. It's like, hey, can I do this? And one thing led to another. He's like, sure, fly on over. So grabbed my brother up. We flew to Germany. We bounced around a little bit, pinned my sister from lieutenant to captain, which is a big thing for her in a military career. And then literally spent 10 days bouncing around that general area, did Oktoberfest for a couple of days, just literally did the River Rhine, just drank some wonderful beers and wonderful Pilsners, but just the wonderful Rhine wines that you actually were able to get on the street corner there, along with the food, which I'm a foodie if you don't know me. I know, Matt, you are crazy. I don't just take I just don't take pictures. I make stuff and eat it, and then, but your food looks awesome. So
You know what, Ken? You know what? You know what? I'm going to work really hard to not take that as a shot.
it wasn't a shot. Your stuff looks amazing. I just somehow forget to take pictures and start
I just
eating.
don't fucking shellac my plates before I, you know.
Mine aren't all buffed out
You must
like
really
that.
like
so it's
cold
like,
food, Matt.
I don't know how you get the lighting right. That's what just pisses me off. I just start eating. But oh my goodness. So
I'm
and then
so glad we could do this.
and then I've had the opportunity to go to Belgium, and literally, if you like beer and you like food, there is no better place in the entire world to go spend a week traveling around, eating and drinking, and just the amazing culture, the amazing from a food perspective, from the yeast and all their Belgian sours and their Belgian ales over there. I was lucky enough to go to Chimay and be able to actually go through the brewery. Hugged a monk, which everyone was a bit concerned about. I did. I hugged him. I had little tears dripping down my eyes. Thanked him very much for just the wonderful experience. Everyone thought I was going to crush him, but it's just like, okay, thank you very much. And but those things, it's beer to me is what brings people together. It brings meals together. It brings family together. It's this is something that we like to share, and I think we, in a lot of ways, I'm not sure how we get this next generation to embrace what just imbibing with the beer and friends really means. And I think that's where we, obviously we don't have any 21-year-olds in here, but how do we get the youth to embrace what we share in beer? Because beer to me is memories and people and places and foods and things like that. And
the big
just
question, man.
wonderful people that I've been interacted with because of beer. So.
I think the answer is pretend we don't like it. Straight up, pretty sure that'll work. Like,
It's depressing how accurate that is. That's so fucking on point that I hate it.
You know, sometimes the simple questions, simple answers.
Damn it.
So, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Everyone in here has a bar that they remember. I mean, literally, I started bartending a week after I turned 21, as I kind of mentioned that. But literally, I've got such fond memories of, well, So before I was 21, I was served by a Tacoma legend. Literally walked up to the bar, probably 20.
That's a ruined their career.
This big blonde hair in a bun or tied up in a ponytail. I walk up and he looks at me. He's like, in his eyes, he's like, "Oh, I know you're not 21." He's like, "Well, what can I get for you?" I'm like, "What kind of pilsners do you have?" And he's like, "What? Did you say pilsners? You didn't ask for this, that." And it's like, "No, you asked for a pilsner." I'm like, "What kind of pilsners?" He's like, "Well, give me the one with the Czech hops in it." He's like, "Bob Hill, by the way."
Yeah.
Damn it.
So I chuckled my way back to the seat and kind of slid out the door. But
Had yourself a Pilsner Quell, I
I
imagine.
had a Pilsner Quill, was
Yep.
very happy with it. And I snuck out of there. It was getting late and things were getting a little rowdy at that time. But then years later, when they opened up the Swiss, it's just like I'd close the Sea Galley down. We'd run down to the beach and drink Linda Small. And then we would drive all the way across town because she would close down at midnight. And then we'd close the bar with Bob Hill down at the Swiss when it was just the front area eating peanuts at the bar. And he would serve us until 2 and then make sure he looked up and we had our glasses empty and we'd go home. So there you go. Little history of Tacoma
Lovely.
along with it. So.
Yeah.
It's pretty romantic, actually.
Ah, it's awesome.
What do you got for some of your first favorites on the America side of craft beer?
I remember first favorites. You know, that's a crazy one. My first memory of a beer really was Samuel Adams. That was probably 84, 85, and that was just so different. My dad was a Rainier drinker. You come to my house, you're going to find at least a case of Rainier Tall Boys in my fridge at all times. That's a house beer. If I'm feeling fancy, I will get Coors Original, same cans. I love that shit. I will drink a ton of it. And when I'm really, really fancy, I'll get that in the stubby bottle. And because it makes my hand so big. So I was like, precious little beer.
Do you make the sound when you walk? Like,
I do. Look at me, drinking little beers. But every now and then you just have to have a little stubby bottle since there is nothing else. I mean, Lucky Lager was in it for years and years, and there were some smaller stubbies. That's just the only one that today I will still buy. So for American breweries, really, Samuel Adams is the first one that kind of kicks up in my mind. But then as things here, I mean, my first IPA, it's really a switch up. It's either one or the other, and one came first. So Ballard Bitter probably was my first IPA, which was fantastic.
Mine too.
And then Rogue came soon after, before that, and with their IPA and the Brutal Bitter, and going, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. And then, of course, at that time, I was trying to explore wine and beer, so time spent in Yakima. Had a wonderful little brewery there that made some very nice dark beers and a couple of IPAs that were decent. So
Killed?
Yes, Killed Lifter was fantastic. So those were all kind of forming my impression, but always at the same time, I was always bartending. So I had an audience to, when I came to Sea Galley, it was Bud Light, Coors Light, and Rainier. So 3 taps, 3 yellow beers. That's what we served. Actually, it wasn't Bud Light. It was Bud Red. So Coors Light, Bud Red, Rainier. As the craft culture started up in let's not kid, Hefeweizen and things like that in the early 90s was a juggernaut. And I mean, there was a serious war between Widmer and Pyramid for a half handle.
So many lemons.
So many lemons. So many lemons.
Then you got those
sake.
Southerners throwing in their orange light.
Right.
Like, oh, no, let's fucking try it with orange. It's groundbreaking.
So being able to really watch that develop, and then funny story back to Sea Galley days, I had a young man come in with what he said was a Christmas ale. So I'm like, what's a Christmas ale?
A young
Never
man?
heard of one. So by the way, this is Chris Hem. So Chris Hem sold me a case or 2 cases because they had to sell it in 2, or he needed the dollar figures. So Chris Hem sold me 2 cases of Christmas ale bottles. So ties in my Sierra story. So that's literally kind of the genesis of being able to kind of get outside my box and being able to see how people reacted. Also having sales guys come in. Here's what's new. Here's what I was able to literally from the onslaught of this thing. I've pretty much had everything in the last 25 years that's come across before I jumped on this side. At least tasted it, so that was fantastic.
I heard that at JBF you found a Cascade that you liked too.
Yeah, a little unknown Cascade at that
way
time.
back when.
That was I was on a junket down there with the New Belgian boys, and so I actually won a contest, and it's just like, okay, well, you've got 2 sessions at GABF. So one session, I literally got the pamphlet out, and I top to bottomed it, and I ranked IPAs that I wanted to try. So one session, I literally did the entire session on IPAs. The second, I did everything in sours. And when I say sours at that time, there weren't a lot of them, relatively speaking. So that was a bit of a short list because I did sours and pilsners. But that bourbonic plague that I drank that day fucking blew my mind.
Yep.
Literally game changer. Then Sour Patch Kid. I'm in. Yeah. It was crazy.
Bourbonic flag, man.
How do I get my hands on this?
That and Vlad are,
Vlad,
I think, are the two
and
that
Taylor.
that's
Dude,
still just.
Heart of Darkness. I had those like around the same time, and like when I first had Heart of Darkness, I could not fucking believe what I was drinking.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. That's a. I also remember being sold sour porters from breweries that basically got their first bourbon barrels and tried to like
Trying to sell me a Green Monster from Deschutes that they fucking
Listen,
fucked up.
that Green Monster, when it was fresh, it was mind-blowing. And when I say that, it was fantastic. 6 months later, shit. It
was garbage.
But literally shit. As soon as those bugs ate all the way through that, it was terrible. But what they actually put in that Green Monster, that first time was fantastic. Because I saved a few bottles being the hoarder that I am. It's just like, fuck, this is terrible. Should have poured it.
I took one to we went to the ocean with some friends, and I took a couple of beer nerd beers, and the first one that we popped was Green Monster, and it really set the tone for the night. Everybody fucking hated me. Drinking this shitty Green Monster out of there.
That's a great way to save the rest of your bottles, though.
Yeah.
I guess you don't want my Tart of Darkness.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. Good job, man. It's smart.
I have
Good
some Sang Royale that I'm going to drink myself when I get home now.
There you go. It happens. No, that was a fluke on their part, but literally when that first dropped, it was fantastic, but it did not age worth a shit. So unlike this beer that we were drinking, which is pretty goddamn fantastic for, what was that, the 1010? So that's actually, 10 squared fish.
10 square.
That's 2010 also, so 13 years old.
All the 10s.
Yeah.
Yep.
All 10s across the board. So
You grow things very well. And the one I care about the most is hops.
Fair enough.
Your ladies, which a portion of actually went to Michael.
Oh, those are my hops. Those Cascades. Awesome.
Yeah.
Super duper.
Lovely ladies. It's like you caress them and sing to them every night.
Actually, I have Blue Jays or Stellar Jays on them right now that are driving me fucking crazy. But I inherited. My grandfather was a farmer. I somehow got the green thumb. I can literally grow anything. And when I say that, in my greenhouse right now, I've got a lime, a lemon, and a grapefruit tree, along with 2 olive trees. So they'll along with the state flower of Hawaii, which is a beautiful white flower with a pink stamen in the middle. It's some crazy stuff. So I have a greenhouse which I get to do cool kid shit with. So I can throw the heater on and throw a light on if I need to. But hops are one of those things. Knowing that I had a green thumb, and actually I had a house on 60th Street in East Tacoma for years, and well, they had some wonderful boys that used to hang here, and they'd hang out at E9. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate enough one day to probably catch him when I was going in. And it's just like, he's like, dude, you want some hop ribosomes? I'm like, goddamn right I do. So that was Spike. Knock on RSB. He was a great character in the Tacoma beer industry and people. So I got those going, and literally up until kind of COVID kind of threw a wrench into things, I would supply probably, I don't know, 40 pounds of fresh Cascade hops to E9's fresh hop for Spike's Ale. So I grow things really well. So, and the hops are the luminol in them. They're in full sun where I live now. They get crushed with it. The water table actually where my gardens are at is about 2.5 feet deep. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're tapping directly into it. I do water them, but it's kind of like the fig tree that I have that's probably about 18 feet. I keep cutting it down. Started in a 5-gallon bucket for 5 years. Never got out of there. It's now 5 years in the ground, and I just take a chainsaw to it now because it's like, it's huge. Crazy. So, yes.
I want some figs.
You want some figs? You want your own fig tree? I'll prop you up one.
Okay.
You can take it home with you. Grow your own figs.
I'll send you a picture.
Done. I'll prop them. I need to trim here momentarily, so I'll prop up 3 or 4 of them, and I'll coordinate with Sean and just drop them off.
Most important things too is we get into that time of fuck up stories. If you have one that you could elaborate more on than like, I got bit by a shark.
Maybe some of your hot tub time machine stories.
Oh no! What do you have on your sheet?
Oh, the Walla Walla and the Bellingham.
Sounds like we have time for 2 quick ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't even know what to say about that.
Is this the first time we've chosen a guest's fuck up stories?
Yeah.
So I fuck up plenty. It's just in the world of things, I learn the hard lessons. That's why I replace a couple of hips. I do things 100% in, and sometimes it turns around and bites me. So the Walla Walla story is kind of funny, but I stole some stuff, and we'll just not talk about that. When you are in this business long enough, you are going to find yourself one night drinking too many shots of tequila or too many whiskeys, along with the beer that you have shared all day, which puts you into not a good state of mind to get through things. Well, there was a time where I might have left the bar. We were in the hotel. Nobody was driving. It was a quick walk, like 50 yards, which turned into a couple hours for me. No, not quite that long, but somehow I ended up in my swimsuit in the jacuzzi. And, I was there with a bunch of guys, and, Jeff Lee was there. Yeah. So Jeff Lee comes swinging out, full glass of beer, ass over tea kettle, flat on his back.
Oh,
when I say that, he's laying flat. He didn't spill a drop of his beer, by the way. Flat on his. Oh, he's good. But yeah, there are times where libations overload will find you in a predicament, and I decided to go swimming, which I wasn't supposed to do, so they kicked us out. And so wake up the next day, and I'm like kind of blurry and one-eyed, and open up the door, and it's right by the jacuzzi, and here's a guy. They've got it drained. They're washing it from top to bottom, and I am just laughing. It's
in
like,
white suits.
Yeah, well, this is a little hazmat. There might have been a bunch of men juice in there because, we were in there drinking. So it is what it is. But, yeah.
Oh, no.
It was good.
Yeah, you feel like you said that weird.
It is weird. Men juice.
That's all right.
Yeah. Little crazy.
Okay. Next. Not where I thought that was going.
So I don't know if you want to talk about Pete in Vegas.
I don't anymore.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You stay out of this. Please continue, sir.
Where did you get Pete in Vegas?
I did my research.
Good Lord. The night that will go down in infamy gets back to those nights where you're not driving, you're not driving, you might have found a Patron machine in a strip joint, and it was ice cold, and it was going down real easy, and the ladies were looking easy, and everything was easy, and I think by the time we checked out, we split a $3,000 tab, so that was $1,500 a whack. Strange things happened. There was a pillow fight. Stripper lost some hair. There was a wrestling match. I was single. I'm singing, just not married yet, single, guys doing guy things.
Don't worry, guys.
Let me throw this out there. So one thing leads to another. We get back to the hotel. It is like 3 o'clock in the morning. We've got a 6 o'clock tee off time. I stop at a table and gamble some, of course, because we're in Vegas. Stumble into the bed, wake up 2 hours later, throw a shirt on, throw a hat on, run down to catch the bus with all these people. Grab, I don't know what I grabbed, probably a red beer on the way through just because I tried to get my eyes open. And so we get to the golf course and everything's fine. And I'm trying to get my eyes open to swing at a ball. And a gal that happened to be a DM at the time for me, she's like, Kent, what? And she's looking at me like, yeah. It's like trying to get my eyes open. She's like, what's wrong with your shorts? What do you mean, what's wrong with my shorts? It's like, what is that? Might have been a little bit of lipstick on my shorts. Not quite sure how that got there. So that there was legends were born on that trip of somebody with some lipstick. So
And that legend was your DM for calling you out.
Yes.
I like how your one thing led to another. Still came after like stripper losing hair and pillow fights. Like what?
There's a lot that went on.
I was gonna say, yeah. I'm like, what
And it
did
was
you
a really
skip, man?
large tab. So it was one of those things. It's like, so I can't expense this, can I? He's like, no. So when you're young and single, get those Vegas things done, and then you can get brought up 25 years later and talk about lipstick on shorts. Okay.
All right, Grit and Grainers. Email us at cheers@gritandgrainpodcast.com with your comments, opinions, and moist, hallucinogenic, saccharine, sweet, summery, soft focus stories of holding a stick and doing nothing on a lake with Kent Wetzler while he gnaws on a 35-day dry-aged sirloin between sips of Pappy Van Winkle 23 he got from Doyle's. We read and drink everything we receive, and we try to respond as quickly as we can. If not online, then on air. You can subscribe to Grit and Grain on Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. And please leave us a review. Also, check us out on Channel 253, Douglas, and gritandgrainpodcast.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for episode notes, beer news, and tackle and bait advice from happy, stiff, badly dressed members of the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation, because according to the RBFF, not enough people are getting drunk in watercraft and spilling engine oil in the water and catching fish they'll never actually eat. Or how about callings from other councils of various random American things to come out and celebrate their industries in weird and beautiful ways, such as Light Up and Sniff a Better World by the National Scented Candle Organization, or Remember Ceramics, paid by for the national organization of people who don't get out much, or Staplers, we hold your lousy life together, that kind of thing. If this podcast is not what you expected, please alter your expectations. Bonefish Gotcha, Kinky Muddler, Humpy Dry, Royal Coachman, and Extreme Emerger are fly fishing flies and not Cosmo-approved sex positions. No such thing as a bad time to visit Tacoma. No such thing as too much barley wine. Tune in next Friday for more sweet chatter. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. This podcast was exactly what I expected.
Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us at Grit and Grain Podcast wherever you get your social media and catch new episodes every Friday. Cheers.
Good up.
This is Channel 253.